you very briefly touched upon economic inequality. India ranks 129, I suppose, out of 190 countries. What is the reason for such incredulous inequality, such social despair, such social divide between the different income stratas of India?
True. Actually, the short answer to that will be very simple. So one, all of us, like you yourself said, most countries are now capitalist, broadly capitalist economies. And most of these countries have kind of started from a feudal background. So we've moved to capitalism largely from feudal kind of systems. So feudal systems had high inequality to start off with. So it was only a few people who owned most of the resources. Bulk of them did not. On this comes capitalism, which basically, if I were to define capitalism in one line, one way to define it could be, it is a system in which wealth begets wealth. So if you have money, it's easier to make money. So if you start off from a system which is unequal and you move to a system in which those who have money, those who have better starting points can do much better than the others, the inequality will only widen. So that is basically the theoretical reason why we are where we are in the world. On this also, I think if you just look at India's economic history, you can see some interesting things. So I think we can look at India's post-economic history in two phases. There was a phase between 1947 to 90, which we know we had a slightly different kind of economic policies, where the state had a much bigger role, both in planning, in actually ownership of a lot of heavy industry, etc. And post 1990, we moved to a much more free market kind of a model where the state has much lesser role in economic activity. And this has happened across the world. So actually, if you look at inequality data between 1950 and 1990, inequality actually went down in the country. So when you had a very active state looking at redistribution, etc., inequality was going down. There were problems with that model, etc. But I'm saying, and after 1990, when we have this unleashed, this kind of an unbridled version of capitalism, where new economic theory is basically telling us, don't tax the rich, leave the money in the hands of the rich. This is when inequality has gone up much more sharply. So I think it's basically an unequal starting point, and then a system where it's easier for the rich to make more money, that automatically leads to this widening gap, basically, across the world and also in India.